Journaling is not only popular and trendy right now, it can also be a very effective tool in your personal and spiritual development arsenal. Unfortunately, effective journaling is not always as simple as just writing down your thoughts. In today's video, I'm going to share 2 journaling practices I had that were keeping me stagnant, and what I've done to clear that developmental stumbling block. Welcome everyone, I'm Witch Hazel, and on this channel I do my best to share my journey as a witch in case my insights might be useful to anyone else on this path. Today's topic, journaling, is not new to me, but it took me decades to come to a very important realization, which I think I should share. Back in September, I had taken myself down to my favorite coffee shop at about 6 a.m. That's when they open, and I'm generally guaranteed an hour or two of quiet time in a pleasant atmosphere at that hour. I was in the doldrums again, so I'd brought along my journal to do what I always do when I can't figure out life: write. Page after page started filling up, and with each page I got progressively more irritated with myself. But wait, that's not how journaling is supposed to go, right? According to therapists and self-help gurus the world over, journaling is the miracle cure for all that ails us. YouTube's top video on journaling this month, as of October 21st, received 92,000 views within 1 week and is specifically geared toward journaling for anxiety and depression. And yet, my journaling habit, one I'd cultivated over 20 years, had never provided me any sense of inner peace. So, what was I doing wrong? I set down my pen and started thumbing through earlier entries. I found a few with sentences underlined from back when I said I was going to do weekly reviews of my entries. I moved past them, then paused and went back to stare at them again. The light bulb went off, and I understood not only what I was doing wrong, but what I needed to do to fix it. Mistake number 1, mistaking my journal for a brain dump. Journaling very often takes the form of a stream of consciousness style of writing, and that's generally how I journal. This style is often reinforced by things like Julia Cameron's morning pages from her book The Artist's Way, which promotes writing 3 pages a day about anything and everything, just to clear the mind. There is this prevalent assumption that if we get all the words written out, that means they're no longer mucking up the works in our brains, and we can think clearly. Well, it's never worked that way for me. And I recently discovered via someone else's YouTube video that I'm not the only one. If this is true for you too, please let me know in the comments, because I have a feeling it's a lot more prevalent than we think. So, back when I explained why I destroyed 20 years worth of journals, I mentioned that my journals had essentially become a holding place for negativity, and I was dragging that around with me every time I moved, holding on to it by stacking these journals on the shelf. Worse than that, writing out what bothered me never made me feel any better, because it never stopped me from continuing to think about those negative things. So you see, I only ever completed half the task, which leads me into the second mistake, thinking that journaling is the solution. I was onto something with my idea of weekly review. I knew I needed to pay attention to recurring themes in my journal and devise a plan for how to minimize them. But I never saw journaling for what it was, a diagnostic tool. My brain tried to tell me, but I held on to the input I received from the world and tried to insist that journaling was the solution. Oh no, journaling for self-improvement is only the first step in a multi-step process, and realizing that helped me to pick up where I'd gone wrong and finally start to make some progress. The solution, looking back at my old journal entries, I noted that I'd identified several recurring themes I wanted to get rid of. In some cases, I'd even gotten as far as to make a plan for how I could do that. Where I fell flat, and this is a theme I'm going to be talking a lot about in the upcoming weeks, is executing that plan. In those instances where I came up with possible solutions, they inevitably involved delayed action or making some major change to my habits, the result being that I never got farther than just planning. So I made one small change to the question I asked myself about the recurring themes. Instead of asking, what can I do to change this? I asked, what can I do today to change this? And then I did. Now, this is still a work in progress. Doing something just because I tell myself to do it isn't automatic for me. But for right now, these are the most important things to remember about journaling for self-improvement. 1. A journal is not synonymous with a brain dump. 2. A journal is a tool, not a solution. And 3. Ask yourself what you can do right now to take a step toward change, then do it. So, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like. And if you would like to hear more on this topic in upcoming videos, please consider subscribing to be notified when those videos are posted. If you enjoy journaling or want to take up journaling, I've included a couple of links to my favorite sources of journals in the description. So until next time, blessed be everyone.